Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Carter James Ranch channel. Out here again at Redemption on this pond, checking on these skirts. Hey, before I get to a couple questions that were in the comments, I wanted to talk a little bit about a short that we posted. We lost our first calf a couple days ago, and don't want to go through all the details. I actually shot a lot of video and was going to post a video about it, but first I had a hard time uploading to YouTube. YouTube kept failing on the upload, and I'm not tech enough to figure out what the problem was, but pretty upset about that. I feel like we did everything we could. Calf just was real lethargic, couldn't get going. In hindsight, I'm wondering if since the mom was a heifer, I wonder if she didn't bag up enough the day that the calf was born. The next day she bagged up, so that makes me think the calf might not have gotten some colostrum, and then but she was moving around the pasture with mom, and then she developed a lot of poop in her, a lot of blood in her stool, and so we treated her for that. And we've had that happen before. We had that happen with Bree, our bottle calf from last year, and she cleared up after a couple days. I think the big difference was I knew Bree was taking a bottle. His calf would not take a bottle. In hindsight, you always play through these things in your mind, especially when something like this happens and you're upset about it. In hindsight, I probably should have gotten mom in the chute and make sure the calf got on the teat and was sucking. But Tuesday I was syringing some milk replacer, gave her some 911 formula that's electrolytes and glucose and stuff like that, and she was taking it. So I was feeling like, okay, we got some medication, or she's taking some things orally. So I thought we were kind of turning a corner. Tuesday night, I was out in the pasture late with her, 9:30 doing that, feeding her. Came back early in the morning. She was good through the night, alert. Did the same thing Wednesday morning, and then came back after doing all the other chores, and boy, we were knocking on death's door. Just a total, thought we were going up, came back, and she just had no energy, couldn't stand up, and 5 minutes later she died. So anyhow, so what I wanted to talk a little bit about, I've been processing the economic loss of losing a heifer like that. And, initially think about, oh, well, the economic loss is just being able to sell her. Well, she would have been a full-blood registered South Pole heifer. And, how I look at this stuff, being new to it, I purchased her mom. Her mom's just turning 2. So I purchased her mom 18 months ago. And so I've got the mom's purchase price into her. I fed her mom hay over the last two winters. So in my mind, I hit the jackpot by getting a heifer out of her, so she would replace herself in the herd. And so it's just brutal now that we lost that heifer, because now it's going to be another year, another feeding hay, hoping she gets bred back, and then hopefully she has another calf that survives until we even start to maybe recoup the money on the mom. And then you play it out down the road. If she was going to stay in the herd, we've lost her future production. Now, none of this is guaranteed, and these are all just top line numbers. But, if she didn't stay in the herd, I miss out on selling her. If she is staying in the herd, I miss out on years of pumping out other heifers, other bulls that go into our meat program or are sold for bulls if they make the cut for a bull. I kind of played it out over 10 years, and if she had started calving at 2 years old and had a bull every year, which is really unlikely, she'd give me nine bulls. And being conservative, whether that bull went into the meat program as a steer or was sold as a bull, $2,500 for an animal, that's a chunk of change. Now we're only talking top line numbers here. And then if you go out 10 years of, her having, a combination of heifers and bulls, and then those heifers stay in and start reproducing. So over a 10-year period, it really adds up. It adds up a lot. So, just really disappointing. But, this I know it happens. I just don't want it to happen to me, if I'm being totally honest with you. And so you just have to analyze it, learn from it, so that if you're presented with these opportunities or these situations again in the past, hopefully we have a different result. But I guess in closing on that, I feel like I did everything I really could have. The only thing I would do differently is I would have made sure that mom got in the chute and made sure that calf was sucking. But she was active and her ears were up, so I don't know. So it's just a bummer. It's also one of those things where that feeling of sorrow and loss is so much worse than the feeling of having a calf that lives. It's just so much more intense. You're just so disappointed. I think I kind of bonded with that calf, taking care of it so much over those few days. And bonded with the mom too, so you're just disappointed when it ends. And then seeing how on that short that I posted, how mom was just, licking her mouth and kind of just saying goodbye. It was just, it's just sad. It's just sad. But we move on. And mom has moved on now. She grieved for the next day and was bellowing quite a bit on the pasture where the calf died, but she's rejoined the herd and moving on. So that's what we're gonna do. So I'm back out here at the pond. We put the rock skirt in. Since I'm so new to all this stuff, trying to get people trying to get folks that can do the dirt work and me explain. And Greg Judy's got some great videos on installing rock skirts. And so trying to get these done right is a little problematic. And believe me, I've had this thought of, man, maybe I just need to buy a skid steer. But again, I don't want to spend that kind of money. It's a lot of money. So I think we're just going to try to get this stuff done and see how it goes. But this is a bigger picture of this pond. They did make this pond really big. The pond was pretty good size before, but I told the guys that were doing this, I said, hey, make sure it's deep so it holds a lot of water so that when we get in a drought, it's going to hold a lot of water. How I'm planning on this filling up, this is just going to be by rainwater. Now, not just the rainwater coming down and falling into the pond here. This has got a huge run up this hill, and so this all comes down, and you can even see right over here with the skid steer yesterday, we picked out some big rocks to put at the base of our rock skirt. And Skylar, who's operating the skid steer, he actually he couldn't get across that. It was so wet, and we have really not had that much rain. So we have a lot of water that comes in there, and then it goes up and over, and then there's another ridge there, and it just runs all the way down that hill and from the property next door. So great elevation on this. So it might take some time, and to be honest with you, this pond might not be totally usable this summer, and so we're going to put a hot wire around it. This rock skirt's a little more rough than I was hoping it would turn out, but it'll work out. We may need to add some more rock in here just to build this up so that all this dirt doesn't start funneling down in here, and then you got a muddy mess. So live and learn on the installs, but really excited about how this pond is turned out. And obviously if it fills up, it'll be a beautiful pond. I may have to think about putting some fish in here. This pipe over here, this was an original pipe that was in the pond. This pipe is just an overflow pipe. There's a pipe on the back side of the dam that it flows out if it ever gets full. And I actually probably need to put a riser on that because they built up the dam a lot higher. I want to make sure that doesn't ever get clogged and dirt's not falling down in it and causing a problem. So we'll need to put a riser on that. A lot of dirt was pushed out of here. A lot of dirt was pushed out. And, when there's that much dirt, I don't really know, talking to those guys, I wasn't real picky about what they did. So they just pushed it all out back here so it'll dry out. Don't love this at all. We may have to address this at some point, but I mean, there's a lot of dirt that got pushed out of here. And there was 6 or 8, there's some ducks or something flying out of there. There were 6 or 8 feet of just silt in this pond. So there was just a lot of muck. Last comment on the pond here. That's a beautiful sight. Those birds, I don't know if you saw them land right in there, but they love the water. Here on the property, we got this creek that runs through it. It just kind of meanders all through this property. And you can see up here where we got elevation on the right that runs down into it, elevation on the left that runs down into it. And it just kind of meanders all the way through this pasture. So even if this pond does not fill up, we got a lot of creek water. It's kind of the lazy river that runs through here. So yeah, not real excited about how this all turned out with all this crap in here. But I don't know. It is what it is. So we'll deal with it going forward. So we're working on putting a couple more rock skirts in. They put one in yesterday after I left. It didn't turn out real well. It's gonna need much more rock. I think they dug it down too deep, so it didn't turn out great. So again, it's just kind of a live and learn. Fortunately, these rock skirts are not real expensive to put in if you get the right folks working on them, if they're efficient with their time and you get the rock from the right place. So they're not horribly expensive. So, but all in the course of learning how to do things well and do them right. So, so yeah. So that's what that is. So just want to talk about that heifer loss, and then do a couple follow-up questions on this pond. But there were some big dozers in here and pushing this out, and it's gonna be beautiful once it gets full. So appreciate you guys watching. Hope you have a blessed day wherever you're at. Do right in the eyes of the Lord, and we'll catch you in the next video.